Okay, this is what people need to understand. This is what it looks like going over the cliff. Okay, for many years, uh, going over the cliff was an analogy made by describing the political environment that we have seen in the last decade, maybe 2 decades, and all of what's gone on in the last decade, but even in the last 20 years. If you look at it all, it's all connected. This is they made they the last subjugation is the people. That's why they didn't just come out to subjugate the people right away, because they wanted to make sure they got all their ducks in a row, make sure they all got all their pieces set on the chessboard. So when it comes down, they they uh, they know the rules of their game. Um, where do I start? Really, the illusion of the last 100 years, with the pharmaceutical industry, with the Rockefeller, basically constructing a false. I don't know how to explain it. Constructing the medical industrial complex, with his with the fake uh, medical to support his fossil fuel, what do you call that, uh, it was all made to benefit, to use, it's really, if you boil it all down, it really comes to the last 100 years with the fossil fuels, and how just all this greed, um, being falsely incorporated into, just to make a small amount of people money, lots of it. Um, and if you look back, it's all been there. The Spanish flu. This was before Nuremberg Code, so America had the same eugenics. The Nazis actually got their eugenics laws from Americans' eugenics laws before Nuremberg. Um, so you can imagine the Spanish flu was probably mostly uh, contrived, um, and um, actually, America did not want to get involved in the Second World War, um, and they were actually, uh, from historical, real historical facts, is that America did not want to get involved, because they, I forget now how it was said. Um, but there was basically a lot of Nazi support in America, and that's why the Americans were hesitant to get into the World War II. But anyways, all wars were funded. Both sides of the fight were always funded. Then you go H1N1 flu shot of the mid 70s. They even before that, the medical industry falsely put out that fat was the culprit, not sugar, because they knew the the food industrial complex of industrialization, was going. If they had put out sugar was the real was worse, then because then they would have not been able to make their money. And so basically that came out not too long ago, the truth of that scam of sugar over fat. So for decades you had people cutting the fat off their meat, but thinking that sugar, you could have all the sugar you wanted. Okay. So that's already a known scam. But and then you so then we've been played we've been played and that's why a lot of people are still living in that old illusion perception that they have been conditioned to believe. So then 87, it was concocted by the UN. Agenda 21, which is they keep it's called Agenda 30, Agenda 50, whatever, and it was signed on by a lot of UN, United Nations countries in 1992, and probably basically 9/11 was made to allow to happen for many reasons. First of all, the Bush family made their fortune in oil, so basically they knew they had to get the American people on side, just like how they're using public opinion now. To go into so they needed something really bad like 9/11 to get public opinion to go into the Middle East, and then they do the 180 to Iraq, obviously for what, for the oil, for the money, and also the Middle East. Why we seeing it coming back in the news now? Because Middle East has a lot of what do you call that? A lot of natural minerals that the Western world needs to have all its technology. Okay, like microchips and all that. It's all there, right? If you don't know this, well, then you're an idiot. So that's why 20 years, and also to their laundering money through the Middle East, the elites. And also the mineral resources. So that's why this war was the Americans 20. It was not never about terrorism. So that was basically. And then we found out a lot of the truth behind 9/11. We came out with Michael Moore's documentary Fahrenheit 9/11. And then then the forced recession. Obviously forced recessions have been going on for centuries, but it's always been that case. So another forced recession comes 2008, 2009. They basically gave people mortgages that they could never afford. and then they had to so then basically they had to give up their properties or whatever, and then after, guess what, that's perfect, fits right in for their agenda 21. They buy up all these ghost neighborhoods, and basically, so that was part of the manipulation. And then you had the test run for the H1N1 scam of 2010. um it was a test run, and basically, um, it was stopped by the same doctors that were are still speaking out now, but are being censored. So that's why the sheep that only get their news from the MSM would not even know this, and they don't bother doing any research. Um, so, and then after that, a few years later, austerity years. That's also meant to people put people in more in slave debt, to put more people in the poor category, to destroy the middle class. Um, and then you start getting the populist movement, which saw the election of voting of Donald Trump, the Brexit, all these things, because, and basically, I guess there was an attempt to drain the swamp, but obviously, now it seems to be pretty evident that the left have been bought off by China, uh, yeah, China, and a lot, and with the help, with the assistance of the UN, and all that. Um, the UN was created. Was born out of World War II, and is basically is has a lot of links to the communist Nazis, which people don't know a lot about. So basically, um, they were moving incrementally, slowly, but obviously, they needed something to basically. They had no choice. The elites, they had to move into move their plan into a high gear. So they bring, and this also, this was probably something they were obviously moving the pieces on the chessboard for many. If you watch the pandemic documentary, patents were starting to be made on coronavirus. So basically, to make it, to make it so they have a patent on it, so they can make tons of money. Um, I urge a lot of people to go watch the Pandemic 2 documentary on BitChute. Um, so uh, so just going for that quick history. Just to explain, all everything that you've lived through in the last 18, 19 months, it's all illegal, unconstitutional. Um, uh, Trudeau said the answer to tyranny is an election. Basically, democracy is not just one day a year of it's a constant 365 days a year. It's a constant process of checks and balances. So what he just said there is a degenerate comment. Um, um, uh, uh, Charter rights are inviolable rights, so they cannot be disrespected. They are supposed to also protect people's rights especially in times of crisis. Section 1 is a fallacy. Um, Section 1 of the charter needs to be debated in Parliament. Has to pass the Oaks test in a court of law, which basically, obviously, show me the goddamn evidence. Obviously, they don't have any evidence because their only evidence would basically incriminate them. Okay, so basically, they they knew they had to run on public opinion. That means propaganda. That means fear. Basically, to get the false public opinion of the people. Um, how can I uh, businesses are private property. Government have no jurisdiction on private property. So any provincial orders, bylaws, all this for mask mandates, this is garbage, because like I said, government has no jurisdiction on private property, and private businesses are private property. Okay, so um, uh, um, also, just on that one, there's many when you go into a store and they ask for proof of medical exemption. This violates privacy, medical privacy laws. Um, it also means that the business is acting acting in libelous ways, because they have no permit uh, permit to determine whether a permit in handling any sort of handling the private public's medical anything. So right away they are they are not permitted to act as medical surveyors of any kind. Okay, um, they are just private business, open to the public, which their 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 business licenses are subject to the charter. Okay, and basically it's just a transaction. Okay, when you come in to this into the they are inviting the public to do to do business with. Okay, it is a transactional relationship. So even if you come into the store, okay, even if it came down to right when you're and the only time that they can uh make conditions to the transaction would be right at the cash. So when they demand you to put on a mask when you first come in, there's no transaction has been made. So they have no you have no relationship with them yet. Okay, the transaction is the relationship. Okay, so even if anything, when you come to make the transaction, then they could say, oh well, we would like you to put on a mask. Put on a mask for what? As when I give you the money, then I can take it off, right? So this is bullshit. How it's being how it's all illegal, and it's all basically they're because you people don't bother to do any. Well, a lot of people don't bother to do any research on this. The other thing is that your provincial orders, mandates, decrees, all this. Basically, there's something called the division of powers. Okay, you have three levels of government. You have municipal, you have provincial, you have federal. Basically, it works from the top down. So basically, federal is the laws of the land. Provincial is the laws of the territory, the whatever the province or state or whatever you want to call it. Then you got the laws of the town, okay, municipal. Basically, provincial cannot interfere with federal, and municipal laws cannot interfere with provincial. The thing is that the whole umbrella the provincial and municipal are under is the federal. Okay, if you suspend the federal laws, okay, that's when provincial laws will take precedence. Okay, so basically, Canada never, or any G20 or America, UK, they never suspended their constitutions and their bills of rights and all this. Okay, so that's the only time that a provincial order, municipal bylaw, or whatever, okay, would take precedent. Okay, so basically, what these provincial orders or bylaw mandates, or whatever you want to call them, are basically interfering with federal laws that have not been suspended. Okay, so basically, they are essentially violating the federal constitution. Okay, and are acting illegally. Um, um, what is there something else I wanted to say? And like I said, the two main pillars of our of our system is the Constitution and the Charter. These, which the Charter is only a section of the Constitution. So these two things, if these were suspended, that would technically mean, okay, that we'd be in a police state or something similar to that effect, and that's when provincial orders would take precedence. The thing is, when if you ask a police officer, has the rule of law been suspended? Because that would mean that basically see, they're giving the illusion of a police state, but it's actually not, is not on the legal books. You understand? So it's all a show. Okay, it's all a theater. Okay, and this is why they bypassed the Oaks test and showing any evidence. And when any provincial health people say or are asked where's the evidence, they're not showing or giving any evidence. Okay, so so that's the other thing is, well, here in Quebec, okay, they don't want to make you think that the mask is the only thing that's allowed. Well, actually, that is actually manipulation of of people understanding the law, because in the law in Quebec, it doesn't say the mask is and these are fake laws anyway. But if you want to play that gray area where you make them look like the idiots, okay, because they are running on no legalities at all. Okay, they're running on your ignorance. Okay, so when you're wearing the face shield, and some businesses are being funded by to be militant, or they just don't know. You wearing the face shield is considered in French and in English face covering, couvre-visage. Okay, in the law, if you've ever been written a ticket, if you look at what their writing, your infraction is, it's gonna be couvre-visage. Okay, that's why anyone can either wear a surgical mask or a bandana. But really, This is what the politicians told you. Okay? What does the law say? Okay? That's why you can wear anything on your fucking face and it's considered a face covering. Okay? It's all political. And nothing about it is law. And the rule of law. So you can be wearing, let's say you tape a piece of toilet paper around your mouth and nose. Okay? That's considered a face covering. And even if, let's say, you don't want to be able to get any food, which obviously it will make your life a little bit harder. That's why I say do the face shield, because you're gonna make them look the real fucking, and that's how you show their insanity and their illegality and their the illogicalness. Okay, I know that's not a word. Of this whole campaign. Okay, so some places they're not bothering with I go in, but some very select places are still very militant, and they tried, they lost, but I just tell you, if you want to play, if you want to you basically use fight fire with fire, I would suggest to play in that very slippery slope that they're running in. Okay, because you are going to use the slippery slope against them. Okay, but it's a it's a game of mitigated hell. Okay, and you know how the expression, it's an exercise in mitigated semantics. Okay, and that's the only area they can operate this garbage on with the public opinion, because the general public are not this petty. That's why they don't understand what's going on. You have to understand government, okay, and people, and rich corporations and elites. They work in a world of pettiness, okay. That's what the law though, they've turned the laws that are supposed to work case by case, which is kind of a gray area, but it's meant to not have like a blanket one size fits all, because case by case, everyone's situation is different, but they use that gray area to turn it into a semantic hell, okay, which basically it looks petty, but the reason why they have to turn it into petty, that's how they've gotten away with white collar crime, steal, fucking stealing millions, and even getting away with murder. Okay, you have to understand this. It's all illegal. So when are you, or anyone that has it, when are you going to do any of your own research? Because until you people do, this shit is just going to get worse.